Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottinen from the Flourish Academy. This is episode 451. I have a really important setting I need you to check in Lightroom. But first, I posted a new video for adjusting your white balance in Lightroom. I'm gonna post a link to that below, but make sure you check it out because some of you are just being absolute freaks about white balance and you need to stop with the pixel peeping because white balance can be very easy and straightforward, and sometimes chances are you are overthinking it. Okay, so Lightroom, this is what I would like you to do. I would like you to make sure that you are periodically backing up your Lightroom catalog. When you do so, you are backing up the Lightroom database. So this is not your photos. We've talked about that in a lot of other videos, but I'm talking about backing up your database. Now, why is this important? Because it's all of your work. So if something happens to your Lightroom catalog, you don't lose your photos because they're not in Lightroom, you lose your work, and that can be equally as frustrating. Remember, Lightroom is just a database and it houses information about your photographs. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, there are ways that you can set up when your catalog needs to be backed up, but the reason you want to do this is because every once in a while, your catalog might get corrupt. Have you ever had this happen when you open Lightroom and it's like, oh, sorry, your catalog is corrupt, you need to repair it? Have you had that happen? It will happen, and at some point you'll be like, what do I do? Well, one of the options is to repair the catalog, which of course you should try that first, but I've never had that work. When a catalog has gone corrupt, for me, and it's happened a few times, repair a catalog has never worked. So all I do is I use my most recent backup. But if you are not backing up your catalog, then you are going to lose your work. So what I want you to do is inside of Lightroom, I want you to press Command comma, that's Control comma on the PC to access the preferences. Then I want you to go to the Performance tab. Underneath the Performance tab, about halfway down on the right, it says Catalog, go to Catalog Settings. Go to those catalog settings and there is an option, a drop down for when to back up your catalog. I have mine set to back up every time I exit Lightroom. So every time I close Lightroom, Command Q, Control Q, it says, would you like to back up your catalog? Now, if I didn't do any work that day, maybe I was just looking for photos or I wasn't really editing, then I can skip it. But every time I do work, I back up that catalog. That point, Lightroom creates a folder on your hard drive called Backups. And inside of there, it has a backup of your catalogs and it has them listed by date because in theory, you're doing this all the time. So you'll see all of these dates and every once in a while, you want to get in there and delete all of your older backups and only keep your most recent. You guys, this is really important. It's going to happen and I don't want to hear the tears when you lose all of your work because you've never backed up your catalogs. Okay, let me convince you by way of a story. This was back in '07. I was pregnant with my son, Evan, and I had 30 weddings that year. And I had weddings every single Saturday and some Friday doubleheaders. And I was insane because, you know, morning sickness, I had it 24/7 for 9 months. I was sick constantly, shooting 30 weddings, and I was trying to keep on top of all my workflow, and I'm proud to say that I did. So I would work in Lightroom, obviously, all day, every day. That's what I did. Well, one day, I go to my computer, and it says, like, Lightroom crashed unexpectedly, and I try to open it, and it says the catalog is corrupt, and I'm like, what? And I can't get it repaired. And then I think to myself, okay, well, that's a bummer, but I'll just go to my most recent backup. Well, I work on a Mac and I never shut down my machine. And at that point, I hadn't been closing Lightroom. I had not closed Lightroom for 2 weeks. Do you know what I'm saying here? I had not backed up my catalog in 2 weeks. 2 weeks of work was lost. For me at the time was absolutely devastating. I had several weddings in process. I was very, very sick and I had no end in sight of any relief from weddings or from morning sickness. I was beside myself. Again, I did not lose any photographs, but I lost my time. I lost work. So from that point forward, because I am not an idiot, I started closing Lightroom every single day. And again, if I did work on the catalog that day or the images, I would back it up, and then I would have tons of backups. And guess what? I had it go corrupt again. Not shortly after that. I mean, it was several months later, but I had a backup from the day before, and I was right up and running. So what you do in that case, if you cannot get your catalog repaired, is you close that catalog, just delete it. It's no good. Delete the folders, everything associated with that catalog. It's toast. Open your most recent backup. If you want to rename it so that it makes sense to you, that's fine. But I implore you, are you backing up your catalogs? Are you? Can you let me know in the comments? Don't be embarrassed. I'm not going to shame you. Maybe I am. But make sure that you are backing up your catalog. It's not your photos, but it is your work, and it's pretty important. Catalogs do corrupt for a variety of reasons. Sometimes we may never know. Sometimes it's drive issues. Sometimes it's operating system issues. But when it does, you want it to be a minor inconvenience, not a major catastrophe like it was for me. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.